Hey, it's Trav from Metroscapes. And Metroscapes is a fancy way to say I take a lot of walks and I take a bunch of pictures along the way and document what I see. I've been doing this for over 8 years now, and while I've built a whole website around it, I've even made a few YouTube videos now, I don't think I've told the full story of why I do this and where my inspiration for this came from. I was born in Toronto, Metro Toronto. I spent the first 6 years of my life in a townhouse in Don Mills. My memories of that time are few and faint, but the strongest ones took place in the Don River Valley. The Don Valley Parkway was often the start or end of rides in the back of my parents' 1988 Oldsmobile. It was a place where I walked or rode my bike with my dad. Many people recognize the Rainbow Tunnel going under the train tracks next to the parkway south of Lawrence. For me, it was the amazing echo chamber. A few steps is all that separates you from the noisy, crowded streets of Toronto and peaceful open valley. This dichotomy of the Don Valley is a nostalgic memory of where I came from, where natural and built environments collided. It would shape me in my future. I just didn't know it yet. After a few years, my parents moved us from the city to the suburbs of southern Ontario. And over the next dozen years, I largely forgot about Toronto and the Don Valley. I lived the suburban life in a small industrial town surrounded by farmland, and I knew little about the outside world. All I did know is towards the end of my teenage years, I had to get out of there and explore something new. I went to university in a bigger and more vibrant city, Guelph. Suddenly, Toronto wasn't so far away. It became a transfer point. It became my temporary home. It became a playground that was only a train or bus ride away. During this time, I became engaged in Toronto's history, geography, infrastructure, and politics. I spent many summers working in Canada's biggest metropolis, moving through it year-round. There were so many cool places to go, and I was falling in love with that urban life. And with that, those distant memories of the Don Valley started coming back. After finishing my university degree, I moved to Toronto. It was where I would jumpstart my professional career. It's also where my wife began trying to find hers, which involved working weekends. I was left to fill up my time. I started walking into the city to explore. I'm not sure how much of it was conscious or subconscious, but I ended up at the Lake Ontario shoreline a lot. There was something about it that spoke to me. Something about being on this edge between a natural body and the concrete jungle. But after revisiting the same patches of shoreline for a while, I pushed myself to change it up and find new places. I also needed to return to where it all started and retrace my footsteps in the Don Valley. And as I did that, a bunch of things started coming together. Smartphones were coming out with half-decent cameras, data plan caps and speeds were going up, and Twitter boosted its character limit. Some fellow Torontonians started doing this thing where they would make threads of where they were, what they were doing, what they were thinking on the latest city issues. So I jumped on board, and I started sharing where I was walking and what I was exploring. After a few years of doing this, I finally realized what I was doing and why. It was a hobby, but it was bigger than that. It was making a vision of what the city was to me and how it could be better. The buzz of the city can be exciting, but there's this primal need to get a break from it all. Escaping the noise, getting a breath of fresh air, watching things stand still, finding calm and peace, all while discovering somewhere new. This is an intersection of us, humans, living in nature. It was an intersection of my education, economics and environmental sciences. It was an intersection of where my childhood had started and where my adulthood was going. It was where natural and built environments collided. It was exploring Metroscapes. So that's the story of where Metroscapes began, at least. There are other stories about how Metroscapes evolved and changed as a hobby, as my undertaking over the years, but we'll save that for another day. So thank you for joining me as I explore Metroscapes and explain where it all started. And remember, friends, not all those who wander are lost. Take care.